It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
Time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes on your weekly automotive radio experience. I am Nick Miles, and you're listening to America's Automotive Radio Show, keeping you connected to the automotive world. Find us live on Facebook right now at my account, which is Nick J. Miles, and the Test Miles account, TESTMILES, and also on Periscope. You can find us at Nick, N-I-K-J, Miles, M-I-L-E-S. Locally created, nationally celebrated, now with viewers all over the world. Our weekly automotive reviews, we'll start looking at some of the cars we've been driving on the road. We'll chat with Andy Colley about AT&T's way of keeping you connected in a car. They've got some exciting new products. John Vincent will be here to talk to us about the Northwest Activity Vehicle of the Outdoor Activity Vehicle of the Year. The upcoming Mudfest competition will name the 2016 winners. Bengt Halverson is here to explain a lot of questions we have about the Tesla Model 3. And Peter from Mobile West will be dropping by to talk to us about Summer Road Trip. On top of that, Ryan looking at some detailing products. So a lot of stuff on this morning's show. Let's talk about a vehicle that I got to spend a little time with this week, the brand new Aston Martin DB11. This is a result of the James Bond film, which was the Aston Martin DB10. A lot of elements from that car taken out and put in the DB11. First of all, the hood on this car is made from a single piece of aluminum. There are no fenders. The hood goes from the wheels all the way to the wheels on the other side. So it's a giant piece of aluminum that lifts up just like a race car. The lights stay in place. They couldn't find anybody to actually make this car. Make this piece of aluminum for the hood. So it took them 6 months to find someone to be able to tool this single piece of aluminum.
So don't hit anything.
Yeah, exactly. You have to have the whole front end replaced. I guess if you're buying a car that starts at whatever, $300, blah, 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 $1,000, it probably doesn't matter if you put a couple scratches in, you can replace it. That's not the issue. It's like if you ask the gas mileage, what it does miles per gallon, you shouldn't be buying one in the first place. The other thing about it is that I noticed that I really liked was they decided that the designers would get the first crack at the car. Unlike most cars, which are engineered first, and then designers have to fit their design around what the engineers have done, it was the opposite case for Aston Martin. When they designed the DB11, they put it together with the designers getting the first crack at the whip. So they said, we don't want a big, nasty fin on the back to hold the downforce, to hold the back of the car down. We want a very smooth, clean tail line. So they said, well, how are we going to keep the back wheels on the ground? So what they did is, by the rear quarter lights, they put the air intake there. The air goes through the trunk and then comes out the back with a little vent at the back of the trunk.
Almost reverse engineered.
Absolutely. And then it pushes down on the back of the car instead of having a big old fin on the back. They do have to have, however, over 100 miles an hour, they have to have a little fin that pops up just to keep it down because, when you go over 100 miles an hour, you don't want those back wheels coming off the ground, especially when you brake. That can end up as a very nasty accident. 250 hours to build the car. So knowing there's 168 hours in a week, this new DB11 takes 250. So if you were working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it would take you a week and a half to build this one single car. 50 hours goes into the paint. 50 hours goes into the interior, which is hand sewn with 1 million stitches by one seamstress. Now, that's opulence. Is there a more opulent vehicle than that? No. And the seamstresses are so good that they can look at the inside of a car and tell you which of the girls had actually stitched it.
That seems a bit sexist when you said the girls.
Yes, and you know
they're
what?
They're only women sewing?
Yeah, they're only women sewing. I checked before I actually mentioned it. I did talk to Matthew Clark at Aston Martin. I said, seamsters? And he goes, no, they're all ladies. So you seamstress, you're quite politically correct, young man. And so all right, good. So the seamstresses. And they hand paint these cars. It's not a machine. They don't go into some bay where a machine gets hold of them. They're hand painting these DB11s. The only company in America still doing it.
And they're going to make how many?
They've sold all of them already. And they're only in the pre-order stage for 2016, for this year. So you'll have to order it next year. It's 5.2-liter V12, 600 horsepower, the ZF 8-speed automatic transmission. Of course, it's a rear-wheel drive. 12-inch display screen on the inside. Does a 360 degrees bird's eye view. Starting price $211,000, $995 with
That's
a
a value.
$25,000 down payment. There you go.
If
What
you're
do you
spending
think?
almost $300,000.
Are you thinking that Dodge Journey maybe isn't such a good idea?
I
and
think
you should
maybe
be-
I'm trading down from the Pacifica to grab this.
There you go. That would be probably the perfect vehicle to do. All right. So we are going to talk a little bit about mobility. Wi-Fi, of course, in your car. Have you ever had Wi-Fi in your car? If you haven't had Wi-Fi in the car, you should definitely think about having Wi-Fi in your car. Americans have Wi-Fi in their car to increasing numbers. But what if you have a car that didn't come with it built in? Well, there is an answer for that. Joining us on the phone is Andy Colley from AT&T. Andy, 61% of American homes have Wi-Fi, and 8 out of 10 Americans have Wi-Fi high-speed internet in their homes, but it's not as many in their car. Now, I know things like the General Motors cars come with OnStar 4G LTE. You work closely with Volvo. They have it in their vehicles, Audi Connect. But if I don't have Wi-Fi in my car, you actually have a clever device called the ZTE Mobily. Is that right?
That's right. Hey, thanks for having me, Nick. So a lot of wireless carriers are starting to sell devices or aftermarket products specifically for your car. And at AT&T, we offer the ZTE Mobily, which you mentioned, and another one called Car Connection. They both do different things. The ZTE Mobily is the one that plugs into your OBD2 diagnostic port, and it's always on, and it turns your vehicle into a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Now, so this works with 1996 and above vehicles. So if I have a 1996 or above vehicle, that little port that the mechanic uses to plug in his device to see what's wrong with my car, you can just pop that in and you suddenly have Wi-Fi enabled car?
That's right. And usually that diagnostic port is out of the way, and it's always on. So when you have the ZTE Mobily in there, the device is always on. The minute you turn the key and the car is on, the Wi-Fi is hot in the car, and people can start using it.
Now, how many devices can I connect to it?
I believe it's up to 6 devices. And depending on the plan, so if you think about pricing, you can add the ZTE Mobily for $10 a month to an existing mobile share plan. So if you've got 4 gigs or 2 gigs, it's just another device that shares that monthly data.
That obviously is great for those families that now want that extra. And I noticed online, also on the AT&T website, that it says you can actually get the device free if you sign up for a data plan, or if you put it on your data plan as well. So presumably, depending on what data plan you buy, you can actually get the device for little or no cost. But then taking a step up from that, you have this great device that I've also been playing with called the Car Connection 2.0 device, which basically does internet, but a lot more as well.
That's right. So it doesn't give you the Wi-Fi hotspot, but what it does do, it's designed to enhance the safety, control, and convenience for your vehicle. And how it does that is that it offers these features that work with an app. So it's great for parents with teen drivers or seniors or maybe even small business owners, because it has these safe driver features like text blocking, driver scoring, and the ability to set safety zones to let you know when a vehicle has left a designated area. So you could think about some of the applications for that, right? If you're a teenage driver, you've said, okay, you can go to school and practice after school. If you don't completely trust them, it will alert you if they go out of that designated area around school and practice. If you're a small business owner with a small fleet, you don't want those drivers using text messages, so it'll block the texting. It'll tell you if they go out of their certain area, and it also gives you driver scores. So you can see, okay, was the person exceeding the speed limit or not doing proper braking? So a lot of monitoring that you can do through a smartphone app.
I'm wondering in my head a couple of things, because this is a million questions. Depending on your parenting relationship with your child, either you sit down and said, look, we're going to help you understand how to drive better, and this is what we're putting in the car, and this is how it works, or you could say nothing. And then your teen can be sitting there going, why doesn't my text work when I'm sitting in the car, Mom?
As a parent, I can tell you can have the conversations, and they'll still have those questions.
Yes, of course.
That's right. I just one benefit of being more proactive about it and letting them know is you could, in theory, as a parent, say, okay, this is what we want you to get your driver score to be, and this is how it's going to monitor you. And if you brake appropriately and don't exceed the speed limit, you're going to up your score. And if you get to the certain score, you can continue to drive my car.
I like that idea, much more being on the level with them and them knowing too. Do you, Andy, is there a way to find out if you unplug the device?
You know, I don't know about that, but I would imagine that your app would just say not connected.
Yeah, because I can see Sean borrowing his mum's car, and the first thing he's doing is pulling out the device so she doesn't know what he's doing.
I wouldn't do that.
I could just see the lot of parents thinking, "Why it doesn't seem to be working today? I wonder why."
It's still parked in the garage.
Yeah, the kids are working out. It hasn't been. How much does the Car Connection 2.0 device cost?
Well, they're both both the ZTE Mobility and the Car Connection. They're both $99 if you want to buy them up front, and then $10 a month for a data plan. But per your mention, Nick, you can get both of those for free if you sign up for a $10 a month with a 2-year service agreement.
Excellent, Andy. It's always good to talk to you, and thanks for being on the phone with us today. If you want to investigate these devices, of course, just go to your AT&T website. You can check them out, and also go get one if you want internet in your car, and it's above $19.96. I think that's an awesome plan. $10 a month. On top of that, if you have kids and they're starting to drive, great way to monitoring fuel consumption and everything from texting to driving. Coming up on Test Miles, a packed show still to come. We're going to be talking about... Sean's going to be talking about what he's been driving, and also we're going to be talking about Mudfest, the upcoming event where we choose the Northwest Activity Vehicle of the Year, and also the Tesla Model 3, and a lot more. It's Test Miles. I'm Nick.